If you're looking to place sounds in spaces, then pads are a wonderful way of doing that, and so are reverb treatments. But in this video, we're going to look at another way of building sort of atmospheric surrounding sounds around a piano part in this particular instance, just to create something that's pitched and washy and distant and like a kind of canvas onto which you can then paint the instruments that you want to take up more of the foreground. What I've got here is a piano part, which I'll just play. This is being processed through some reverb and a delay, and it's already sounding quite spacey, but we're going to add another layer below in just a moment. Here's the piano on its own. Okay, on the instrument below you can see that I've got ambient designer. I've labelled this particular track, and that relates to a particular patch within this Apollo Cinematic Guitars library that's made for Contact. And if I load this patch, we'll begin to see and understand what this instrument can do. So this is a series of phrases and sounds, all of which have originated on the guitar. And if I just play one, these are some finger trims. You can see those here, currently loaded into this particular slot. If I play the octave below, I get this sound from this patch called Sustainer 3. So how does this particular ambient designer work? Well, first thing to say is that my piano part is in F minor, and at the moment these patches, these little individual things, are being played back in C because that's the default key. So the first thing I need to do is to press the key trigger up towards the top of the keyboard to select an F, and what that will then do, F6 as it happens, will then sort of shift the pitch of all of these different bits into F. What then happens is you can see that there is a group of sounds related to a sound bank here. This one's called Air minor 22, and these patches, these individual sounds, are mapped in red, so I can see which octave they relate to, and I can also see how many phrases there are. So there are 4, I think, mapped in this particular red instrument, whereas Air minor 25, which starts on C, the octave above, has got many more patches, 7 or so, which are yellow. So what I can do is to trigger these sounds. And they're all looped, so from the same bank, here's another one. So this one, for instance. And an octave below, I could play some from the Air minor 22. These are the red patches. And when I find some sounds that I like, what I can do is to press latch. Now, when I turn this on, what's going to happen is that rather than me having to repeatedly trigger these sounds, they will just loop around. So now if I play the same sound and just play it for a moment, it will begin to trigger and it won't stop unless I play the same key again, which then effectively becomes a note off message for it. And now when I play it, this sound is just going to continue. And what I can then do is to play a note from the group above. And now they're both playing. Here is the sound from Sustainer 3, which is from the octave above. And as you can see, these faders allow me to set a balance between them. Now, if I don't like a particular group of sounds, let's just turn this instrument down so I can talk while it's playing. If I don't like a particular group of sounds, I wasn't that fond of the tremolo sound that I auditioned a few moments ago, I can click here and select a different one instead. So I could go and find something noisy like amp buzz or tape noise. Let's try that. Here's another example of tape noise. So I've just clicked on the same key to turn off the previous example. Let's audition a few here. This one's nice. In the next octave, I've got some phrases. Not too fond of that. And in fact, actually, I think the phrases are going to be sort of too defined. So again, let's just swap this out and let's just try something else instead. Maybe some bows. That's good. And I'm just going to try this sustainer sound from the octave above. So once I've got a volume balance I like, I can turn latch off. Now, everything will immediately stop, but the really clever thing about Apollo is that it's remembered those settings and which sounds were playing. So now if I just press C7, all of that gets triggered again. And when I let go of it, it stops. Let's just see how that layer sounds underneath my piano now. And I've let it run off a little longer at the end there as well. So we could quantize that, bring that back to the beginning so it starts the track. And of course, then we can start adding more effects. I could run this with the same reverb, for instance, and maybe same delay as well. We can set it back further in the mix, maybe even take some top end out of it or anything we might want to do just to create this kind of slightly, well, I say slightly, super wide, super sort of canvassy background. Let's just roll out a little bit of top end just to tame the brightness of the sound a little bit. Now, of course, you don't have to buy this Apollo library or get hold of it in order to try these techniques out. You could just as easily record these instruments yourself. You just pick up any guitar or violin or any acoustic instrument you like and just record anything. And then just begin to think about ways of processing it with space and with reverb and with loops and all those sorts of things, so that effectively what you're doing over a group of sounds is to layer things up. I haven't even begun to sort of pan these into particular areas, so we could create something even more wide, or take the definition out of sounds using transient designers. There are a whole range of ways in which you can take any source material and turn them into loops that can then form layers that can do this kind of extraordinarily sort of pitched reverb treatment type of texture, and it's really effective when you do.